So last week we started our first session on mindfulness. What I find really interesting is because we're also doing meditation 101 through Thupten Norberling at the moment. So one of the things that I found super interesting there, anyway, all these courses, these foundational courses, these kind of like, I don't know if you call them introductory courses. I personally am learning so much from them. I don't know about you guys, but anyway, so I just wanted to express how grateful I am to have been asked to come along and lead them, because I find them enormously inspiring, and I find them very, very helpful to just go over that material again and again and again. And yes, so anyway, with the meditation 101 that we're doing, it talked about concentration as being like, you have these torches that you can kind of wind them up and wind them down. And when you wind it very tight, the beam becomes very focused, almost like a pinpoint on a subject. So that in the 101, they talked about that being like the equivalent to concentration, like you're really focusing on one element. And then mindfulness is more like a bit of a broad beam, where you're actually allowing a little bit more sensory information in. So anyway, I just wanted to have that as a foundation for what we're talking about today, which is introspection. So introspection is more this, and we'll go into it a little bit more and we'll experience a little bit more, but introspection is more about this kind of awareness that you have, like almost like you're keeping an eye out for your own safety. When you're walking down a street at night, you have a lot of awareness about what's around you. And so this is the same with introspection. Introspection is more like, having a little bit of discernment as to when the mind is starting to wander off. And we definitely need introspection, because sometimes we float off into this amazing revelry of really nice feelings, and I'm having a wonderful meditation, and you're just floating around, but you're not really actually meditating, kind of spacing out. So introspection is extremely discerning and will just bring you back on track. So that's we're going to talk a little bit about continuously coming back on track today. So with a couple of meditations, what I would like to do, it's not part of the course, but I think it's extremely important. We did it yesterday with our 101 meditation, is to do some 9-round breathing. So I'll do a little bit of introduction, but it's what people reported was that it was very grounding, and I also find it extremely grounding. So has anyone here not done any 9-round breathing? Do you not know what I'm talking about? Everyone's done it? You haven't done it? You guys haven't done it? Okay.
I haven't done it.
And I'm going to go through it quite slowly, because when I was first taught it, it was like, and okay, now you guys do it by yourself. And I was like, what? Is that how you experienced it, or is this, well, I mean, it was just like, how am I supposed to remember that? Anyway, so we're going to go slowly through it. I won't be mirroring you. I will be opposite to you. So you just listen to my words carefully about the left and the right. Hi, Marion. Are you at home? Are you at your home, or are you at my home? Our home. Judith's home. You're at Judith's? You're upstairs?
Yes.
Marion's upstairs. Okay, welcome, Marion. Nice to see you. Okay, so let's just go through, and hi, Mina. Let's just let everyone settle. Hi, Mina. I love those glasses, by the way. They're super cool. Those frames.
I'm so sorry for being late.
No worries. Everyone's just coming in and settling. I was just telling everyone we're going to do some 9-round breathing today. Some people haven't done it before, so I'm going to give you a fairly lengthy explanation. We're also going to be looking a little bit at introspection. Introspection is this, our ability to know when we're kind of going off track a bit. Okay, in our meditation. All right, so everyone, let's just settle. And I wanted also to find out how people were after last week. Were you able to do any practice? Did you think about what we did last week? Did you have anything you wanted to share about what we did last week? Millie, you're looking like you were about to say something, were you, or not?
No, I've actually used meditation quite a bit, and
Okay.
it did help me follow through instead of to procrastinate.
Oh, I see. So it encouraged you to sort of sit on the cushion a little bit more rather than not doing it, thinking
Yeah,
you'd like to do it, not to. Okay, that's great.
yeah.
So, you know,
So
the thing is about developing any kind of practice, whether it be meditation or doing your, you know, mantras, or whether it be your yoga practice or whatever it is you're doing, any kind of practice, this idea of consistency is what's really important. And so if being consistent is time consuming for you and sounds impossible, you reduce the amount of time that you do the practice for. So if you can only manage 1 minute, just do a minute. But then you've done it. You're creating the cause to be able to do more. Do you know what I mean? So maybe 5 minutes is all you're going to be able to do. And that's perfectly okay. That's where to start. But if you think that I'm going to do an hour meditation every single day, you have to be joking. You know, when I started, I was doing the 10-day Vipassana courses, and I was so inspired when I came home. You know, I would sit in my cushion 5:30 in the morning and do a whole hour's meditation after about a week. And then after that, you know, it'd be like life got in the way and I wasn't able to keep it up. So what I found really encouraging was to hear, you know, Venerable Rabina would always talk about, Lama Yeshe would say, 5 minutes is all you can do. 5 minutes is about all Westerners can manage in terms of before you need to actually move your body, change position, open your eyes, take a sip of water, and then go back into meditation again. So 5-minute blocks of time is probably a really good place to start, and maybe even 2 or 3 minutes. You can set, if you have a watch, Apple Watch or something, you can actually set a timer, and it doesn't disturb you more than just going bzz, bzz. It just kind of buzzes on your wrist. So I think, yeah, start like that. Excellent. Anyway, thank you for that feedback. Anybody else that they wanted to share from last week?
Well, I had an experience in that. This is John.
John, oh, you're Netsanet.
Yeah.
Hi, John.
So, hi. And I've been taking a different course, and I recognized from coming with Millie to Ocean that a lot of it was sort of Buddhist training, and I just I wasn't connecting with it real well. And Millie listened to the course with me last week, and then that's what got us looking at this course and got us here last week. And my experience last week was, and I credit you for this, it just plugged me in. I just understood it now. And so what I wasn't getting from this other course, kind of like an aha moment working with you. So I appreciate that.
I mean, I thank you. I also believe you're the one that's doing the work here, and perhaps just sometimes hearing things from a different person in a different way, you've already had the groundwork from another presenter. So I would maybe give yourself some credit for the work that you've done. Then you get to another level of understanding. So what was the aha moment about? What was the plugged in feeling about?
I just felt a relaxation. I just felt like, oh, this is, yeah, I just felt like I was getting it more. And I'm kind of like you described, you know, Westerners can't do this for more than 5 minutes.
No,
I experienced that very much. And so I think that setting this time aside, putting it on the calendar, and saying, okay, this is what I'm going to do, helps me to learn. And I feel like I am constantly learning, but I haven't learned how to stop my day and do that even for 5 minutes very well yet. So that's what I'm kind of working towards right now. Get that 5 minutes and then 10 minutes in on a routine basis rather than just doing it once a week.
Yeah, I'm with you there too. And I know that once my day starts, if I have I have to carve out some time before I start moving, because then I get busy, and all of a sudden those kinds of practices, my mind's too distracted. I can't do them. So I
Mhm.
have to do it in the early morning, and late at night after we have this Vajrasattva practice that we do in the evenings and the weekdays from 8 to 8:30. And, I kind of hit a wall at around about 9 o'clock. And I know I'm not making any sense after about that time. Like if anyone was to have a conversation with me, it's just like a little bit nonsensical. And so I do need to kind of just be by myself and shut down. So I'm totally with you. And I would love to have the ability to sort of go to my life, okay, stop everything, I'm just going to sit down for a minute. And I think I need to learn how to do that myself. But I do appreciate, particularly if people are out in the workplace, you can't do that so easily, because there's emails and this and meetings and this person and this project, and you've got to keep working on something and da 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 da. So yeah, it's sometimes all you need to do is actually sit back in your chair and take a breath, or breathe in and out 4 times. Close your eyes, take 4 breaths, and that can be enough. So that's another way to do it as well. And John, would you have space to do that? 4 breaths.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So there you go. That's a start. That's a place to start, particularly in a busy life. And sometimes I'll do that, if my mind's got busy about something, or there's some delusion arising, or I'm overreacting or something like that. It's good to just sit back and take 4 breaths, 6 breaths, and then feet flat on the floor, and then see how your mind is feeling after that. And like you said, you've got to make a decision to do something, otherwise it never gets done. So we can't just, our practice isn't just going to come to us. You have to make the effort. Like anything, if you want to develop your yoga practice, you need to go to yoga classes more frequently, or do the practice on your own. If you want to play the piano beautifully, you need to practice. So meditation just doesn't come to us out of the blue. We have to work with it. We also have to work with the breath. The breath is extremely important. I don't think enough emphasis is placed on it. And I, particularly when we're doing a lot of Zooming, I do understand that being in front of the computer a lot, particularly on Zoom a lot, does tend to affect the way we are breathing. So there's a wonderful book out there by a man, his name is John Nestor. It's called Breath. And there's a lot of very interesting information in there about breathing, about snoring, about sleep apnea. And him and a friend of his, they did this experiment in San Francisco where they taped up their nostrils. I think they did it with the University of California, San Francisco as well. It was a proper study. They taped up their nostrils and they breathed through their mouths. I think it was for 2 weeks. And they said their sleep was horrible. They nearly went crazy. Their appetite everything was off, because they weren't getting the proper amount of oxygen, carbon dioxide exchange. So I was fascinated with that. And so now what I do at nighttime is I tape my mouth shut. So I do. You can buy that. You can buy that mouth taping. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a thing now. I've seen it. I've seen that a lot.
That, yeah, I don't know if it's James and his friend. His friend came all the way over from the Netherlands. I think they're both scientists. I don't know, but it's a fascinating book. So if you are anyone in your family is snoring, I suggest you read that book and encourage them to take their mouths before it turns into sleep apnea. Anyway, okay, we've been chatting a lot, and if you start getting me talking, this is what's going to happen. So let's get back to the course. Unless anybody has anything else they want to share, anything, doesn't matter, anything at all. Gitu, do you have something you wanted to share from last week?
No.
Oh, you're muted, my friend.
Oh. I don't have anything right now.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. All righty. So we are going to do one of the meditations from last week. But first I want to get started with this session. So just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. The feet flat on the floor. If you are sitting at your desk or at your computer in a chair, the knees are hips width apart, your sits bones on top of your cushion, shoulders aligned with the hips, and just imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light. It's running through, and imagine this pearls of light actually are running through your central channel out through the crown of the head and beyond. Have the shoulders aligned with the hips on top of the sits bones, and the ears aligned with the shoulders as best you can, so that you don't have to have any extra weight holding up this, ball of a head of ours. So you can tip the head very slightly forward. So you're just dropping the chin down rather than poking it out, and a little bit of length in the back of the neck. It's kind of really all you need. And breathe. Take a nice deep breath. And at that same time, just notice the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. You notice the cool air as you're breathing in and slightly warmer air as you're breathing out. And you may also notice the sensation of those little hairs inside the nostrils as the air flows in and out. So this is a nice focal point for concentration. You can always come back to the breath. We have a very intimate relationship with our breath. It's with us all the time. Now that is focus, that is concentration. And here comes a little bit of more like mindfulness, where we just kind of bring in this awareness of our external environment. So I can hear rain, and some of you in San Jose may also be hearing rain. And just allow those sounds to be there. You're just kind of aware of them. Your focus is on the breath, but you don't allow your mind to run off and investigate. And there may be people in your home, pets, Amazon coming to the door. Just allow it all. And then you bring the mind to the thoughts that are arising. So here's another form of distraction. So we have the external distractions, and then now we have these internal distractions, and so make friends with them. Don't push them away, or judge them, or criticize them, or, resist them, grip. Just relax and see what's there and just allow it, and be curious about what's in your mind. And you can imagine, if you wish, you can put all those little thoughts into a helium balloon and just let it float away. And for those environmentally conscious people, you could perhaps put those little thoughts on a nice white fluffy cloud and let that float away. And more thoughts will come, and that's okay. We can't stop our mind. It's continuously flowing. And there's a beautiful analogy by Mingyur Rinpoche. So just notice perhaps you're sitting on the bank of a river and you're watching that river flowing on by, and just notice the quality of the water of that river. And then just as you're sitting on the bank, just you realize that you're free from the river, that you're free from the water. So now we do a little bit of impermanence meditation along with equanimity, because this impermanence is kind of important to understand, particularly with meditation, because we sit down and we think, oh, I'm a horrible meditator. Actually, it's going to change from day to day. And I wear contacts, right? So I notice when I'm driving how my eyesight is different from day to day. If I've had enough sleep, if I haven't drunk enough water, my eyesight changes. It's fascinating. So your meditation will also change. So now we bring to mind all these people of our life. This is equanimity. It's the first step in developing bodhicitta. So you bring all these people of your life into your mind. The ones we love, our precious, 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 closest friends, our loved ones, family. And then there's our strangers, hundreds of them. We pass them, if you're driving back and forth from work, all in cars, all on buses, all on trains, walking everywhere in the stores. And then there's those ones we don't like. Now just think about any relationships in your life, and have they changed? Did a friend become someone you don't like? Did someone you don't like become your dearest friend? Did a stranger become your dearest friend? And even within our relationships, we notice the ebb and flow and the change. And so during all these changes, we need to develop stability of the mind, keeping the mind steady, steady, steady. And our meditation will help that. Our breath will help with that. So imagine all these people are equal. They have this wish to be happy and this wish to be free from suffering and having this extraordinary capacity for Buddhahood. So a very long way of saying we're going to dedicate or motivate this morning for the benefit of, or this afternoon, for the benefit of all these people of our life, and by extension, all sentient beings, and of course for ourselves as we're moving along our spiritual path. So where mindfulness allows our mind to stay engaged with a familiar object without losing touch or being distracted elsewhere, the strength of the connection between our mindfulness and its object depends on the degree of familiarity we have with that object, and the strength of the associations we've built up in relation to it. So the more familiar we are with an object, say like your breath at the base of the nose, the stronger the associations, emotional or otherwise, that we have with it, and the better we're able to keep that object in our awareness for longer. And our concentration on it can deepen. So this is one of the reasons that they use the breath as an object of concentration, because it's always there. some people like to focus on the rising and the falling of the belly, or the rising and the falling of the chest. It depends on where you've been trained, if you've been trained. So the implication for our practice of mindfulness is to take care in building up familiarity and associations, and repeatedly returning our attention to the chosen object of mindfulness, so that our attention naturally gravitates towards it. So we're not pushing here. It's an effortless experience. And the reason, again, why the breath is so useful is because we're doing it all the time. We don't have to force it. It's just there. So we also have this other natural ability of our mind, which is introspection. And it's, like I said, it's a bit like a spy, checking and monitoring how our mind and body are doing in our meditation. And it's this it's this awareness, this introspective awareness, that alerts our mind to being distracted from our object, or being overwhelmed with dullness or drowsiness. And this enables us to quickly return our attention to the object of our mindfulness, thus strengthening it. And the stronger our concentration, the stronger our mindfulness, the easier it is to notice this deviation, because of the great contrast of being attentive or being distracted. So this means that the strength of our introspection increases in step with that of mindfulness. So this is how these two qualities can mutually support one another. And so it's good to just do a little practice where you can just sit down, focus on the breath, and then just notice when the mind is wandering off, and just very gently bring it back. So what we're going to practice now, before we do the body scan, which is a repetition of the one we did last week, I want to do the 9-round breathing. And then we're going to do 5 minutes of just pure concentration meditation. And then I want you to see how you do with that. Okay, so here I am. I just wanted to make sure you're all there. Okay, so with our 9-round breathing, my suggestion would be that when you're breathing in through each nostril, you breathe in for a count of 4, then pause at the top of the breath. So you don't have to make your breathing even if you don't want to, but if you've experienced this meditation before, some of you here have, you're more than welcome to use a counting for the breath. Some of you here, I know, are not able to breathe through alternate nostrils. So then in that case, you don't do valving, you just imagine and do the best you can. You just imagine air flowing into one nostril and flowing out of the other. So that's something for people to think of if you don't have, at the moment, if there's a reason for you not to be able to valve. This is what valving is, okay? So for those of you that are going to do the valving, you can put the back of your right index finger. So this is a different mudra than would be taught in yoga. In yoga, I think it's just something like this. But for us, we just use our index finger, and this is being taught the way Lama Yeshe would teach it. So I didn't make this up. Just wanted you guys to know that. Okay, so breathing, just close the left nostril. You don't have to put too much pressure on it. Just very lightly close it. Then breathe in through the right nostril, blissful, radiant white light. So just imagine this beautiful white light flowing into your body through this nostril. And then pause while you move this right finger over to close the right nostril, and breathe out through the left. And as you're breathing out, the visualization is you're breathing out thick, black, yucky smoke, and you're breathing out all your attachment energy. That's unhealthy desire, grasping, neediness, all of your kind of insecurities, anxiety, all of this, breathing out through the left nostril. Imagine it's all gone, disappeared into space. Then you breathe in through the left nostril again immediately. Blissful, radiant white light. And pause at the top of the breath. Then move the right finger back to close the left nostril. And exhale, all your anger energy out through the right nostril as thick black yucky smoke. And you're breathing out all this delusion of anger, of jealousy, bitterness, grudges, depression, fury, all of this leaving completely. And then you just put your hand down in a nice, comfortable meditation posture. And then you breathe in through both nostrils, blissful, radiant white light, and pause at the top of the breath. And you breathe out all of your ignorance energy. Now, on one level, this could be just not knowing how things are working, not knowing how to turn something on, not knowing how to get from A to B. But in terms of the Dharma, so that's one level of ignorance, or just not knowing how to calculate something. So that's one level of ignorance. Another level of ignorance is not understanding this idea of cause and effect or karma. And then also included in that is not knowing the way things truly exist. So this is moving towards this idea of wisdom, emptiness. So that is one round. So you do this 3 times. So we'll just follow me. But so you do each one 3 times, each nostril 3 times, and then you do 3 sets of 3, so it becomes 9 round breathing. Has anybody got any questions? Otherwise, we'll just do it together. Is it clear? Can't believe it's clear. Wow. You guys are very smart. That's very good. Okay. So, so for those of you who are valving, valve. For those of you who are not valving, just visualize. Okay, we start breathing in through the right nostril, blissful, radiant white light. So we've done 1 round already. So this will be 2, 1 set. One set of breathing of a set. Anyway, however you say it. Breathing in, number 2. And pause at the top of the breath. And then breathe out all your attachment and grasping energy through that left nostril. 3rd one. Blissful, radiant white light, breathing in and out all your attachment energy, unhealthy desire, anxiety, grasping, neediness, all out, leaves the body completely. Now breathe in through the left nostril, blissful, radiant white light. And breathe out through the right, all of your anger energy. Thick black yucky smoke, and just leaves you. Do it again. Now both nostrils, breathe in, blissful, radiant white light, pausing at the top of the breath. And then breathing out all of your ignorance energy. And if you don't have an understanding of karma or cause and effect or what emptiness might be, that concept of emptiness, which is very much a Buddhist practice. It's also in Hinduism, but taught slightly differently. You can just think things like, oh, I'm ignorant of knowing how things really are. All the different levels of subtleties of what goes on in the universe. We don't know it all. Breathe in again. And exhale all your ignorance. So we've done one set now. So the next set I'll lead, and then the last one we can do in our own time and see how you go. So starting by breathing in through the right nostril, blissful radiant white light. Pause and then breathe. And pausing is not gripping. It's just it's almost like floating. And then exhale all your attachment energy through your left nostril, and it leaves your body as thick black yucky smoke. Number 2. Breathe out. And the third one. And we'll breathe in through the left, blissful radiant white light. And breathe out through the right nostril. All of your anger energy, fury, depression, bitterness, grudges, jealousy, out, drama. And then breathe through both nostrils, blissful radiant white light. Pause at the top of the breath, and then exhale all your ignorance. Breathe in. Pause and exhale. Inhale. And exhale. When you're doing this on your own, try not to do it too fast. You don't want to hyperventilate. So this final round we'll do in our own time. So starting breathing in through the right, exhale through the left, attachment energy, breathing in through the left, exhale through the right, anger energy, and then both nostrils, ignorance energy. So 3, 3, and 3. And when you're finished, just bring the mind back to the breath, and we'll just do a concentration meditation. And bring the mind back to the breath.
You're muted, Katie.
I'm sorry. Okay. So what I was saying, did you get any of that? Very slowly bring yourselves back, but you're all back here. I can see that. So for those of you who aren't, who are still in meditation, just feel the weight of your hands in your lap, the feet on the floor, or your legs crossed. Feel the body. Breathe and just very slowly allow yourselves to return to the present. I've been thinking a lot about being present and being in transition at the moment, because there are some transitions that are going on in my life right now. And I'm finding that, you know, like when you're in an airport in transit, you're really present because you're not anywhere in particular. You're halfway between one place and the next. So I always find myself when I'm in these spaces in between the breath, in between a movement, in between this place and that place, I find myself being quite present. And somehow being present in this transition, and each moment we come to is a beginning. So if you think of everything is, and now we begin, you're kind of more present perhaps in the beginning than you maybe are at the end. So I think of in the beginning. So if we can be present, if we can show up for ourselves, and we can show up for our loved ones, our friends, what an amazing gift. if you don't do anything else in your life other than be present for someone, even if it's only for 5 seconds or 10 seconds as you're racing off to a class or racing off to a meeting, somebody wants something from you, somebody needs your attention. You can give it to them fully for 10 seconds. That's being present. Such a gift for people. So we might not all have money to give away or things or space in our house or whatever, but we do have this ability to share ourselves and be present with people. It's very important. So all this Dharma that we're learning, all these techniques that we're learning, all this meditation we're learning, it's great, but the reason we're doing it is so we can become maybe a little bit more developed ourselves, so then we're a bit more benefit to others. Okay, so now we're going to do the next meditation, but I want to know if anyone have anything you want to share or say or ask? Anyone? Why are you all so quiet? I get a bit worried. Anything? No? Hi. Oh, someone.
I had a question. So
Yes.
when I'm trying to meditate, and if I squeeze my eyes really tight, I feel like I'm floating. It lasts for maybe a second or two, but it's just the most wonderful feeling. I'm wondering if that's normal is or is that just maybe biological?
I'm going to try that. I don't know. That sounds great. So what I wanted to say about amazing feelings when you're meditating is they are wonderful, and it's almost like they're gifts. They're also a product of your merit, of your past karma, of your past practice of meditation. So the one thing to do is to be aware of it, to note it, and then not to get attached to that. Because in some of the more advanced meditators, they'll say that you can get stuck in that spot. So the point is to develop our mind further than that. So I have not experienced that before, but I will give it a go just to see. I'll experiment with that just to see what it feels like.
Yes,
me on it.
just squeeze your eyes really tight, and it's just weird when you're meditating. Doesn't happen like
When you're not meditating. Okay, I'll try it.
yeah.
Okay. I won't
Yeah.
try it today, but I will try it and report
Yeah.
back. Anyway, thank you for that. Okay. But that is something to be aware of because, oh, okay, Marion, no worries. I think it's in one of the yoga classes I went to, someone came up to me and said, I've had something or other experience, a Kundalini experience. I don't know what that is, but she said it was just this kind of energy going through the body. And I think sometimes we can get stuck on those experiences and think, oh, I'm really special, or something special has happened to me. And yes, it did. But the thing is to not to hang on to that, and then just to keep moving forward. It's like rejoice in these beautiful experiences that we have when we're meditating, and then just keep moving, because there are better experiences to be had, believe it or not. Apparently, I don't know that I've had them, but anyway, that's what they say. Okay, so now we're going to repeat the body scan meditation from last week. And again, I can't believe the time. What happens? So because of the situation that we have here today, I won't be doing any Tai Chi Chuan. Is everyone okay with that? Because I haven't really set myself up properly to be able to do it. You won't be able to really see me. Did anyone have a little bit of a practice of that during the week? Huh? Okay, no worries. Did you enjoy it? Did you like to move? Yeah, because I think it's good to do something to move the body in the middle of a meditation like this. So maybe next week I'll set myself up so in our Gompa so we can actually move. But right now I'm up against the wall, so I think we'll just meditate for today if you're okay with that. So what we're doing here, just settle. Maybe you can have a drink of water. I'm getting a little thirsty. So just settle your body again. Have a little bit of a stretch if you need to. So we're going to be engaging our attention with the subtle bodily sensations at the different parts like we did last week. And that of noticing distraction or dullness during the meditation. And this is a practice of introspection. And in the face of experiences of distraction and dullness, we simply acknowledge them as a normal part of the process of cultivating mindfulness. And just very gracefully return our attention to our bodily sensations without any frustration or anger at ourselves. Just very graciously notice, oh yes, with curiosity. So we'll go back to body scan. So we're turning our attention to be in touch with our own body, and we sense the simple sensations at the different parts of the body. And by kind of connecting with our bodily sensations with mindful attention, we're facilitating the body and the mind to shift and release unnecessary tensions and mental agitation. And so given time, we can help the body and mind settle into a more calm and meditative state. So everyone's pretty much in a concentrated mode right now. So just allow your spine to be comfortable, shoulders aligned with the hips. You can just rest your arms where they're most comfortable for you. Perhaps some of you have them in your lap or on your thighs or resting on an armchair, whatever's comfortable. You can have your eyes open or closed. Sometimes if you're feeling a little bit dull, what you can do is just crack your eyes open slightly. Let some light in. And so we return our attention to our own body to be in touch with the simple sensations in order to settle our mind, our body into meditation. So start at the crown and notice the sensations at the topmost part of the body. It might be a little bit of tingling, a feeling of slight pressure, warmth or coolness, or maybe nothing at all. And that's perfectly fine. So we'll just focus for a few breaths on each part of the body. And while we're doing this, just notice at what point your mind wanders off. Now move down to your face and notice the sensations here. And are you tensing up any of the facial muscles? So just release the forehead, relax the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the jaw, the temples, and the back of the tongue. And can you allow some softness to come into the face, some ease? And now invite your attention back to your throat and to the back of the neck. Maybe even the base of the skull. Can you allow some softness to come in there? What are you feeling in your throat and neck? And moving on to our shoulders, how are your shoulders feeling today? Say hi to your shoulders. Become friends with your shoulders. If you notice any tension or uncomfortable feelings here or anywhere else, can you simply just acknowledge them and don't feel that you have to change anything immediately? And allow your attention to flow down both arms at the same time. So notice the simple sensations at your upper arms, at both elbows, down to the lower arms, and finally arriving at both hands. And sense the sensations in the palms, the back of the hands, and in our fingers. If you've got one palm in the other, one hand in the other hand, you might feel the weight. Can you allow both your arms and your hands, wherever they're resting, to release their weight to gravity? Now coming back to your chest, to your heart center, what do you find there? Can you feel the breath along with other sensations? You might feel the beating of your heart. And as you notice the natural out-breath, can you take an opportunity to release anything unhelpful or unwanted? Just allow anything that's no longer serving you to release. It could be a thought, a condition, an illness, a relationship, a work situation. And can you rest your attention within your body at the level of your navel and just sense the sensations here? And this area here has a number of different names in different traditions. There's a lot happening here. Reproduction, elimination, digestion. They say the stomach is the second brain. So go deeper, lower, and finally arrive at the base of the spine. And rest your attention at the tip of your tail or within the pelvic region or on your sits bones. So really feel the sensations there. There may be pressure on the sits bones, on the hamstrings, and feel the weight of your pelvis, your sits bones on its physical support. And can you release that weight so that your pelvis rests comfortably there? Allow your attention to flow down both legs at the same time and notice the simple sensations at your hip joints, your upper legs, both knees, down to your calves, and finally arriving at both feet. And having activated all these sensations into our awareness, can we rest both legs on the ground and release their weight to gravity? And rest your body in this posture and allow it to settle down and be comfortable here. So now we rest our attention here with our body and our breath. And each time we are noticing ourselves exhaling, let's use this as an opportunity to deepen the sense of release. And so releasing anything that's unhelpful, unwanted, does not serve you. And release ourselves deeper and deeper into the present, into the here and now, into our meditation. And now we begin. Okay, everybody, you can relax. And if you need to move around, I suggest you can do that now. If you want, we're going to do a little bit more meditation. So does anybody have anything they'd like to share from that session? No?
I do have a question. This is Netzinet. Breathing versus the body scan. Is it supposed to be that we get to pick either one, or as part of regular practice, should we be doing both at the same time, or the
Say
body
again.
scan versus breathing?
Well, you're going to be breathing while you're doing that body scan anyway. Do you mean focusing on the breath versus doing the body scan?
That's right. Yes, that's what I mean.
Oh, I think for that body scan meditation, the main focus is on the sensations. But very much like you would do in a Vipassana course. Have you done any of those 10-day Vipassana courses by any
No,
chance?
I have not.
Okay. So what they do in those courses is for the first 4 days, you do a practice called Anapana, which is just basically concentration, and you're concentrating on this spot at the base of the nose. So it's like that very fine torch. You're really basically very, very focused. This helps you to sort of control the mind a little bit more. And then after 4 days, this is like 9 hours a day, then they train you to become aware of the sensations in the body. But as the mind becomes more subtle, anyway, you start to feel the body is moving all the time. There's a lot of activity in our body, on our skin. We can't see it, but it's all happening as we're changing, aging, getting fat, getting thin, getting fit, getting not fit. So these sensations are there. We're just not aware of them. We're only aware of a sensation when it's either pain or pleasure. But generally, you're walking around not really noticing what's going on with the body. So when you're doing the body scan meditation, you focus mainly on the sensations in the body. Of course, you are breathing. And then what I would suggest, if you've noticed your mind's got off track, bring the mind back to the breath first, and then go back very gently to the bodily sensations. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I find that, breathing in general, unless I have cold, I find it pleasant. So I have easier time getting focused. Whereas when I do a body scan, if something is hurting or whatnot, I kind of drift away more than I would do if I was just doing a breathing exercise.
Breathing,
So is your suggestion that in a given practice, a daily practice, that we mix those two, body scan and then focus on the breeze, or?
I took the body scan a little bit longer. You don't have to do it that slowly. You can do it quite quickly, actually. You can, it's just one form of developing mindfulness with introspection. And it's not, the main thing that we need to get actually is concentration to start with. So I don't know if I showed you the mindfulness map. Did I show you the mindfulness map last week? I think I did. Yeah.
Is that with the monkeys and
Yeah.
I think I did.
There's people here. So here's where we are right here down here, where this monkey is with the staff, chasing the mind. This is the elephant, and the monkey, which is the distraction. This is pretty much where I am here. And, after you start to calm the mind down with a bit of concentration, then you start to see a little bit of white appearing. And then you see this hair appearing here. This represents more subtle distractions. You start to notice. Oh, it's quite beautiful. We can go through this a little bit if you like. If we've got time at the end, I might go through it a little bit. But I think also, too, I can make time for it next week. But it's quite a beautiful painting. It's called The Stages of Meditation, or the Mindfulness Map. And here, you know, you get to the end and the monk is finally in control of his mind. But we're down here right now. It just takes, you know, it just takes a lot of reining in. So, you know, I think at this point, whatever works for you, if breath is something that is better for you at this point in time, do that. The other thing too is if the bodily sensations, like you have discomfort in your body, then one of the things you can do is you can actually just go back to the first meditation, which is where we just placed our hand on the different parts of the body. So was that easier for you?
Yeah, I think the body scan, though I find it, you know, for me to easy to be distracted, I also find it more stronger to learn to stay focused. So I think I'm okay either way. I'm just trying to get an idea if there's a recommendation on which way is easier to get the practice going. But I'll continue to just use a mix of it.
I would, and it sounds like that would be helpful. You know, you don't have to necessarily stick to the meditation that's being taught here. And eventually you'll work out for yourself, just as long as you don't start wandering off into the land of woo-woo. But although some people might call this woo-woo, what we're doing, but you know. The other thing too is, John, I think you can, you know, like if you're doing the body scan meditation and you find your mind is kind of like wandering all over the place, you can actually just place your hand on your head, for example. So if you've noticed that your mind has gone, wandered off to ice cream or dinner or whatever, work, you can just bring the hand. It's actually really quite comforting, I think. Put it on the face if that's where you're at, or the throat. So you can do a combination of that. And then if you notice that your mind's really kind of out of control, getting a little bit wild, you can just bring the mind back to the breath. And like you said, it's easier for you to breathe. Okay. So actually that leads us nicely into distraction and dullness. But before I go there, so please don't feel that you're alone in this, because you know, people have been meditating for years and doing practices for years, find it very, very difficult to control the mind. And then, you know, for those of us who are here, we are in a very, very further. Is everyone here in the Bay Area? Yeah, it's busy here. Oh, except for you, that's right. Susan's down in Monterey. You're in Monterey, right? It's a little bit calmer down there. A little bit
Yes,
quiet.
Monterey, it's pretty quiet here.
Yeah, it's a little bit quiet, less distractions, but
Yeah.
we have a lot of traffic and roads and busyness and things going on. So don't underestimate the impact of that, particularly if you live near a busy road, something like that. Okay, so we have a little bit more of an uphill battle, although where I'm living is quite quiet right now. So yeah, anybody else, anything, any questions, anything else? No? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about working with distraction and dullness. So as John was saying, when we start to pay attention to our experiences, the bodily experiences, we're becoming aware of how our attention does not stay with the object of mindfulness. So, you know, there's things happening within our mind, within our body, that interrupt and draw our attention away. And the two broad categories are dullness and distraction. So Neticent, it seems to be that yours is distraction, and it's probably distraction through to bodily discomfort. So dullness refers to the loss of alertness and vividness of attention. And this is drowsiness, sleepiness, spacing out, blanking out of the mind, darkness, fogginess of the mind, and this kind of lack of sharpness, lack of energy of the mind. So the mind can't be as clear and as alert as it can be engaging in its object. So now we've had this experience of COVID, and many, many people are experiencing this mind fogginess after having COVID or being in contact with COVID. So, you know, if anyone here is experiencing that, there's been no studies on meditation and fogginess and COVID. And I think I'm going to ask one of my teachers about it, because I just realized it's an issue for people. And then there's also this idea, sometimes people space out or blank out if they are somehow in some kind of PTSD response. People can just kind of like space out, blank out. Or if there's some trauma, it's just a way of dealing. The mind is in survival mode. So I believe that this is something that can happen as well. So it's good that when we're trying to escape some thoughts that might be arising in the mind, it might go to dullness. So we could also investigate perhaps, why does that happen? What am I trying to, well, am I running away from something? Is there something I'm not really interested in looking at, or it's I'm trying to sort of duck away from? And then distraction is the movement of attention away from the object towards sounds or thoughts or other experiences, pain in the body. And it's a more excessive amount of energy in the mind that prevents sort of attention from settling down and stabilizing on the object of mindfulness. And the most common type of distraction, which also contributes to our stress level, is our compulsive involuntary thinking. And again, this can be as a result of trauma. But also, you know, we traumatize ourselves all the time with this ridiculous negative self-talk. It's crazy. You wouldn't speak to a child that way. Well, somehow we just love to do it. I don't know why. Anyway, and this refers to, you know, these thoughts, they capture our attention, they keep it involved in matters of the past or imaginary future scenarios, the stories we make up. And they're often accompanied by various emotional reactions that feel really, really real. And then we get re-traumatizing ourselves with things that aren't even true or don't even exist. We kind of make up stories in our mind about things that, you know, might happen. So we have to be aware of what our mind is doing day to day. And this is not even just like a Buddhist thing. This is just ordinary psychology. But anyway, Buddhism is psychology. It's funny how it became a religion, because actually Buddha himself was just investigating the mind. And this is what he found. And somehow down the track, it became a religion. But Buddha was really just looking at what was going on in his mind. He thought that there was probably more to the world and to his mind and to his ability than what was being presented to him in his own tradition, which was Hinduism. So when we're working with distraction and dullness, it's important we highlight the processes of developing mindfulness and becoming aware of the various reactions affecting the functioning of our body and mind in this. So when you initially discover this kind of awareness of discomfort in the body, dullness or distraction, it might be frustrating or disappointing, but actually, you know, they say it's a sign of progress in our practice. So what it means is you're just a little bit more in touch with what's happening. And when you know what's going on in the mind, that's when you can take steps to remedy the situation. So when you've seen anger, it's fantastic, because now you know you've got it there and you can do something about it. Like, you want to know whether you have something going on in the body so the doctor can fix it before it gets too bad. So with the help of a practice like mindfulness, like concentration and breathing, and repeatedly and very gently returning our attention to very simple breath and sensations in our body, we can begin the process of weakening our old habits of dullness and distraction. And there was one monk, I think he's actually now down in Land of Calm Abiding, down near Big Sur, and he's done more than 1 3-year, what they call great retreats, where they count like 1 million mantras, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he came out of one particular mantra and he went to Rinpoche just so despondent because he'd done this 3-year retreat, and he just came out more angry than he went in. And he couldn't understand it. And he went to Rinpoche, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and said, I don't know what's going on. I'm so angry. Rinpoche was delighted. He said, that's fantastic. The dirt has to come out. The dirt has to come out. And he was like rejoicing and laughing. And Rinpoche used to laugh all the time. And he was just laughing at this monk. And so that must have been such a great relief, because, you know, I don't know how I would feel as if I came out of a 3-year retreat after counting over 1 million mantras and then figure out that I was like a lot worse than when I went in. But anyway, so what you might start to notice, and John, that's what you're already noticing, is that your mind is quite distracted. But it's not anything that you're doing incorrectly. You're doing it very correctly, and that's what you're noticing. And now you've noticed it, you can do something about it. Anyone have anything they want to say about that before we do our next meditation? You're so quiet, you people. I don't know, is everyone just very shy, or?
Venerable Katie,
Yes, Susan.
I wonder if he came out angry after all of that, wouldn't it be a good idea for him to try something else, a different way of meditating than just repeating a mantra?
I'm not sure. Well, he's gone back in, he's in permanent retreat now. So, you know, of course, when you're working at that level of subtlety with the mind, you're going to come across deeper and deeper and deeper, kind of like, it's like peeling off the layers of the onion. You're going to come across deeper and deeper and deeper, I don't know, karmic seeds of delusion, for want of a better phrase. So this person is going super, super deep. And of course, he went to see Rinpoche for help and to find out whether he should be doing something else, obviously. And then I'm quite sure Rinpoche would have given him some practices to do around that. Yeah. But the main point of that was there's dirt there and how amazing you've seen it. Because how would it be if he came out of retreat and, you know, oh, I'm so fantastic, I'm enlightened now. But, and that would not probably have been true. So the fact that he came out and noticed that he still had delusions. I mean, if you have a belief in karma and reincarnation and the mind as being a continuum, then there's been lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes of karmic seeds planted. So this is why we do our Vajrasattva mantra 28 times and not 21 every night, because doing it 21 times, apparently doing it 28 times helps to purify not only just the negativities of this life, but also continuing past lives or something like that. Apparently it's just a little bit more effective. Anyway, did that make sense, Susan, to answer your question?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. It's far beyond my level, so it's hard to imagine.
It's far beyond my level as well, but this is what I understand. There's just layers and layers of subtlety. And then when you start, so if if you ever get an opportunity to do a retreat, whether it be in this tradition or whether it be the Vipassana is a really excellent training ground, I think, if you're interested in meditation, because it's just it's based on 5,000-year-old tradition. So, you know, there's proper lineage there, if it's being taught correctly. But you're basically doing 2 very simple things: 4 days of concentration, 7 days or 6 or 7 days of visualization, you know, following the sensations of the body. So having a discipline doesn't really matter particularly what, is extremely helpful. I mean, it does matter what, but having a discipline like that is very helpful. And doing it in a group of people who are also doing it is very helpful because you're building up energy. And then you will notice how subtle your mind can be. Our minds are very subtle. We notice a lot more than we realize we do. We just choose not to take it in. So I think we are far more aware than we realize. And this is where comes this idea of having this enormous potential, this Buddha potential. We have this potential to be very, very subtle in the mind. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Anything else? No? All right. Let's go on. We have our next meditation is mindfulness of breathing. So this is on the back of working with distraction and dullness. So breathing with the help of, this kind of practice, repeatedly and gently returning our attention to the simple breath sensations in our body, we can begin the process of weakening our old habits of dullness and distraction. I read that before, just wanted to repeat it. So we're going to place our attention, so just settle back into your meditation posture. Notice the feet on the floor, knees about a hip's width apart. And the emphasis here is going to be mindfulness as the simple act of repeatedly returning our attention to the breath sensations, along with introspection, noticing the presence of dullness, including sleepiness or distraction, such as involuntary reactive thinking. And then we're going to practice letting go of these unhelpful reactions when we make use of the out-breath as an opportunity to allow anything that's not serving us, anything that's unneeded or unnecessary, and allow it to flow away and be released. So we're going to start this. So just settle, bring the mind inwards again. So this practice of mindfulness is this kind of simple act of repeatedly returning our attention to the sensations of the breath. So it's actually quite helpful to think that the more frequently we are able, or we get to return our attention gracefully to the breath sensations, the stronger the connection and familiarity between mindfulness and breath. Your breath becomes like your home. It's your friend, keeping you alive. It's our intimate friend. And so each time we notice a natural out-breath and this very kind of subtle physical release that goes with it, we can consciously associate that and just use that as an opportunity to release, physical sensation, tension, and mental agitation. And so that helps us to bring a positive association with the mindfulness of breathing. And it's especially true when we have any kind of dysfunctional reactive thinking or dullness. And just allow ourselves to breathe out and remind ourselves that we can just let go of anything that's unnecessary. Let it flow away, be released. So just as we did before, hands anywhere that's comfortable in your lap, shoulders are aligned with the hips. And imagine your spine is this string of pearls of light again. So just return your attention to your own body to be in touch with the simple sensations there. And notice areas of softness and ease and relaxation. And just welcome these feelings and allow ourselves to enjoy them while they're there. Just allow softness to come into the body. Another way of saying it would be just to relax. And notice areas of tension or tightness or any discomfort. And can you simply acknowledge those for the time being and try not to change them immediately for the better? Just let them be. Unless, of course, it's extremely uncomfortable. And check in with the sensations at your face. And just release any tension in the face, the forehead, the jaw, the mouth, the nose, back of the tongue, the temples, the ears. And can you just gently relax the facial muscles and let in a different feeling, one of softness and ease and comfort? And can you allow this softening and relaxation to spread on its own just to the rest of the body, helping our body to settle into meditation in its own time? Are you able to highlight those sensations associated with the breath? You might notice subtle sensations around the nostrils, feeling the cool air flowing in and the warm air flowing out. You might notice the subtle sensations of the breath flowing over the nose hairs. You might notice the sensation of the chest rising and falling, expanding and contracting with each breath. And are you just breathing in the front of your body? Do you realize it's a 360 movement? Perhaps as you're breathing in, notice the side of the ribs and the back of the ribs, the back expanding out. Try and make it expand equally. Don't push it. Just notice with your breathing in a shallow way, just at the front, that you can expand your ribs, the back body, the side body, the front body. You might also detect the rising and the falling of the abdomen, the diaphragm. Maybe there's some pressure on whatever's around your waist as you breathe in and out. So you can rest your attention on whichever breath sensation works for you, and just allow yourself to fully experience your in-breath and your out-breath. Each time you notice yourself exhale, use it as an opportunity to release, and you release anything unhelpful, unwanted, anything that no longer serves you. That just the same way as we breathe out to let go of the stale air in our lungs. And if you wish, you can very gently say the word release in your mind each time you notice an out-breath. And this is to remind our body that it does not need to hold on to any unnecessary tightness or pain, contraction, effort. And also to remind our mind that we can let go of thoughts and memories and fantasy that are just kind of preoccupying our time. And we can also release states of dullness and drowsiness and just allow those to float away with the out-breath. We're not forcing anything to happen or pushing things away. We're just releasing, very gently releasing. And when you notice your mind, your attention is distracted elsewhere, you're feeling drowsy, just simply invite yourself to come back to the breath, the sensations of the breath, and to release all your distractions, your dullness on the out breath. And just very gently in your mind, think release. So we'll do this next little bit for 5 minutes. It's a very short amount of time. And just see how you do and see if how this compares to how you're doing in your own practice. Bring the mind back to the breath. Okay, everybody, very slowly, very gently, bring your mind back. Feel the weight of the feet on the floor, if that's where they are, the weight of the sits bones in the chair, and the weight of your hands in your lap, and just very gently, when you're ready, open your eyes, allow some light to come in. Did we lose Millie? There she is. So how's everyone doing? Did you learn anything? Do you have something you want to share? How are you doing over there, Mina?
I'm doing well. I really appreciated the release.
Oh yeah, it's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's almost like we need to give ourselves permission to release things that aren't really serving us.
Yeah.
It's like we kind of hang on to it like it's a badge or something. I don't know. Or we think we're not allowed to let things go that aren't really serving us, you know. And we don't have to, you know, particularly if it's sort of something that's within a relationship, you know, we don't have to feel guilty or somehow wrong for trying to set a boundary that needs to be set. We need to sort of think about protecting ourselves, you know, and a boundary that we feel is appropriate might not be something that is seen as necessary to another person. So we have to respect and understand what our own limits are. And that's part of release, I think.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Anything? I'm going to start calling on people. I get to.
So I was wondering, so I've had situations where, during meetings, I space out, or while driving, space out, and then when I come to, it's like a couple of miles down the road. I mean, I don't know if it's distraction or dullness. So how do I bring my mind back to like focusing on what's going on?
Well, I think in that meditation, what the suggestion is to, first of all, you, like you said, you become aware that you are spacing out. So that might be your thing. And then you very gently allow yourself to release that feeling of being spaced out, rather than giving yourself a hard time for spacing out during. I mean, maybe it's just boring, the meeting.
Yeah, most of the times.
I mean, right?
Yeah, and
Maybe you have good reason to want to not be there. I mean, you know, there's that too. And then, of course, if it's not really engaging your mind, perhaps you could just sit there and meditate with your eyes open. When you're driving, I think that's a little more, probably might want to think about being a little bit more mindful, because if there is somebody around you who's driving on a freeway who's texting, that could potentially be dangerous. But I understand that, you know, we're just sitting in the car, you're driving, you know, got some music on or whatever, or you're thinking about where you're going or something that's happened, you know, very often. And our cars now are so easy to drive. It's not like it was in the 70s where you had to really, you know, you had to do stuff. But here in America, everybody's car is automatic. And so there's a lot being done for you. Apparently, there's more gear shift cars in Europe than there are in America. I saw this statistic the other day. So here, you know, we have a really easy time with the driving. So it's very easy to sort of feel, to not realize that you're in a 10-ton vehicle that could, at speed of 80 miles per hour, as everybody seems to drive around here, that could potentially do quite a bit of harm.
Yeah, it's almost like autopilot. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, but are there practices that would help engage the mind more?
You keep the mind on the breath and your eyes on the road when you're driving anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, are they the only two situations where you find you're spacing out?
No, I mean, there are other, when reading a book, sometimes I have to go back and reread the page that's like spaced out.
Yeah, I think you're not alone also in this. But I think this is familiarity of constantly bringing the mind back again and again and again. And again, like John, it's fantastic that you're noticing it. And also very brave of you to sort of say so. Because, people might want to not say things like that, like I'm spacing out while I'm driving. We all do it. And you're not the only one.
Yeah, it's just practice will make it better. I mean, just
familiarity with
okay.
with bringing the mind back to the breath and staying focused. Yes, you just have. It's just a matter of, first of all, wanting to do it. Secondly, being able to recognize that it's happening, and then once you've recognized that it's happening, obviously you don't let it continue. You bring it back. This is what you're telling me. Yeah. So this, it's familiarity over and over again, doing it. But also there might be something else going on with you physiologically, like you might be tired. Maybe you need to sleep more. Maybe that you need some more space to yourself. There might be other things going on that are causing you to feel a bit drowsy or dull in the mind. Yeah, so that might be worth looking at.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, no worries. So we're at 32 minutes past the hour. Does anyone have anything pressing? Otherwise, we'll just do a quick dedication and then close. Anything else, anyone? Are you finding this helpful? These meditations helpful? You are? Okay, cool. All right, that's great. So I look forward to seeing you next week. Next week we are, what are we doing next week? Next time we are working with, what's session 3? We're going to be working more with our thoughts and discerning wisdom. And what did I have to say about? So what you can do also this week, if you have time, is you can just think about the body scan, think about introspection, think about, catching those moments where your mind is wandering off. And just try meditating for 5 minutes at a time and see how that goes. Don't give yourselves any great big, projects of like, I'm going to meditate for half an hour. And if you want to keep meditating, do so, but really the thing is doing like this really kind of focused practice, 5, or maybe just even make it 3 minutes. Like I said, set your watch, if you have a watch or whatever it is, alarm or phone or whatever, and just give yourself a certain amount of time and then see how that works. And gradually, it's a bit like muscle. You'll gradually build up your focus and your concentration. And, as you're getting more experience, it might get worse. You might start to notice more distractions, but don't be disheartened, because all it means is you're noticing more. So your mind's becoming more subtle. So fantastic. All right, everybody, lots of love. Let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy we've created this afternoon to all those people of our life, and by extension, all sentient beings, and for ourselves. And then a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, to be able to continue teaching. And then the swift return of Lamso Rinpoche, because this is one of Rinpoche's centers, the unmistaken reincarnation. And then if you have any of your own teachers, your own precious teachers, maybe they're lay teachers, maybe they're ordained teachers, that not necessarily famous, but say someone that's helped you. So strong wish for them to live long as well. Okay, everybody. Thank you. all you beautiful Ocean of Compassion people. Thank you, Urs and Steve and
Thank you.
Thank you.
Marge. And
Thank you, Venerable
John,
Katie.
Mina, thank you, Susan, John and Millie and
Thank you.
Nancy and
Thank you.
Netcent.
Thank you.
Okay, bye everyone. Lots of love. I'll see you in a
Goodbye.
couple of weeks then.
Bye.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.